State Film Festival. And here with me today, I have director-writer Louis Gerard Politan, who co-produced Arena. How are you both doing today?
Very well. Thanks for having us.
Very good. Good morning.
Thank you for jumping on, and good morning. So, Dinner Talk. Louis, you wrote Dinner Talk, and can you give our live viewers a tidbit about this TV pilot?
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm very passionate about food and also cinema. So the idea came about to take the two of them and bring them together in a unique way in a anthology half-hour TV series. And Dinner Talk is just that. It's a 30-minute half-hour anthology series that takes place as the restaurant being the epicenter, and our patrons are the main characters of the show. So we really are taking these characters and going through their troubles and tribulations throughout their lives. And each of them are seeking forgiveness and redemption. So Dinner Talk is really the restaurant serves as the epicenter for intertwined lost souls seeking redemption and forgiveness. And these characters will be followed throughout the half-hour show, and their character arcs will develop and end in season one, and will also be a dinner recipe in the opening credits of each show that will have a significant impact on the show itself. So we're excited to have involved food and cinema, two things I think everybody loves, and to put it in a conceptual way that is unique. And keep in mind, it's scripted. This is a scripted show. It's not a documentary foodie show from like reality TV. This is a scripted drama show that we are trying to get into the streaming hands of all these great streaming companies and have a 8 to 13 episode season.
That sounds pretty awesome. With that said, so how did you come to work with Paul? How did you two come to meet?
Well, listen, Paul he's just the one word fantastic, and also creative, and a partner of mine that is really not just, he's there hands on, he's in the creative process, he's an actor in the show, one of the main lead actors in the show. So it was great to work with Paul in that respect, director, actor. Aside from that, though, we met maybe 10, 15 years ago, just working on small projects and wanting to be creative and get something out there. Paul doesn't stop. I think he just keeps going. He's a very intelligent individual when it comes to film, when it comes to cinema. So I can let Paul chime in, and if he wants to talk, go ahead, Paul.
Hello. Just to capitalize on what you asked, Emily, Lou and I have been working together 10 years or so on different projects, writing different things, working with other people. We found that it's very difficult in the film industry to put something like we did together. So Lou and I decided at Dinner Talk, it's about reality. In other words, if you're in a restaurant in our pilot, you go out and know the person or the family sitting next to you. You don't know what their personal lives are. And a lot of reality of what goes on in people's lives, their personal lives. The maitre d' and the owner of the restaurant is basically the only person who really knows the stories that are going on. So it's a character-driven project. Lou wrote a endless storyline for each of the characters that we're portraying, and that's the most important thing. We have so many storylines that pilot that we can do 7 episodes, 13 episodes, and anthology we can take this into a different restaurant, a different recipe, desire.
Can I
But
chime in? Can I chime in real quick, Paul?
sure,
And
go ahead.
what's fascinating about the restaurant is the personalities and characters that are in there. They're so unique and they're so different, and it's just such a nice setting to have to and listen, it may have been done before, but the thing is the way we're doing it is unique, and to have these characters and follow their struggles, and they'll come through those doors. You never know who's coming through a restaurant door or what they just went through. That's what fascinated me, and I've been in the restaurant business quite a while previously, and I was, as a busboy, would always marvel when I was 15 and watch these couples at the tables. Some would be arguing, some would be at each other's necks, and then others would be just very peaceful and cordial. And that's what really started this heartbeat of like, wow, how fascinating is it that all these different characters come into one place, and they're all there at the same time, but really no one has a darn idea about anybody else. So to go ahead and go into those stories and just really start to get a deep dive into their lives, that's a fascination I have. And recipes and cooking, it was something I loved my whole life. Cooking every night myself, all kinds of different recipes. Film and cooking, very similar. They have all the ingredients that you have to use correctly when you're making a film and when you're cooking a dish. Everyone knows that when you use too much salt, you ruin the dish. Well, film, you have to have everything done correctly and everything done on point, or otherwise there really is no reason to be on set. Um, so that's my spiel.
Well, I would love to get to know a bit about, both of your backgrounds in this. So, um, Paul, I guess to get you started, what is your background in producing? Is this your first time producing?
In the entertainment business for about 35, 40 years. I'm a musician. My first introduction to film was in Las Vegas when my group was asked to Las Vegas, and it was the first time I was ever on a set, and I was very intrigued. I kind of followed both of those paths, and in our pilot, I wrote "I Need Your Love," which we made as the theme song with a great singer from the area. We had won the music award last year, and
At the Garden
2022 at the
State
Garden.
Film Festival, yeah.
And that was before we were completed with our pilot. So my background ranging producing, productions, and we wanted mutual music abilities and film abilities into our project. So this is a project that Lou and I, this project, we handpicked the characters, we handpicked the actual pilot. So we had the freedom to do everything we wanted to do, we would like to do it, and then going into post-production and to polish off our finished product in a manner that would be compatible, compatible to the HBOs and the networks get. So we have that ability to merge music, film, characters on our cast, and hopefully become very successful in this industry.
And Lewis, would you like to share, your background in directing and writing? I mean, I can't imagine. Is this your first?
I have been, as a kid, what I used to do, and I always bring this up, is I always used to love to read the books that were turned into film, and I'd always read the books, and I'd have my own visual idea of what this film should be, and then I would compare it. I'd match it up against when I went to the theater and I in the cinema and watched it, and it was just a great learning experience of envisioning, visualizing imagery and from the page. So that helped my writing. So I wound up going to University of Miami, studying screenwriting and film. and shooting on a 16mm Bolex camera and editing on a flatbed. Now, when you're on a flatbed and you have film in your hand that you wait 2.5 weeks for, and you're cutting and splicing and chalking and reattaching, that is the fundamentals and foundation of film, which I was very, very fortunate enough to have in my brain. And from that point on, I mean, certainly everything is really digitized now, which is so convenient. But to have that foundation of film and the cutting and splicing is just, I'm just leading up to what your question is. So yeah, I've been writing really for at least 20 years. Um, Novel. Just treatments, and then dinner talk has had a life, a heartbeat for over 10 years, 15 years, and it's just timing and the right um people that you're working with. And I tell Paul all the time, we just have, fortunately, a very good working relationship. And to be on set and to be able to work with people and enjoy yourself, for me, is very important. As far as other projects, yeah, I've been writing, and dinner talk has always been my main focus, though. And I'm actually very excited to see where this goes, and I know it's going to do well. And yeah, that's it, Emily.
So, with this said, it sounds like the two of you really do have pretty extensive backgrounds in this industry. We do have high schoolers and college students that have submitted to the film festival and, are watching these interviews and will be watching these other films. And I would love to know if you could give any advice to some of our live viewers that are filmmakers, are writers, are producers that could really, gain from some of the experience that you have.
Well, I'm going to take this one real quick, Paul, because it had to come out. Listen, it's important that, I think it's extremely important that you're working, certainly creating and working with the right people, and you have to share the vision. It's so important. Now, as far as writing is concerned, those bursts of inspiration, those times where you're like, you have something that you can't wait to write down, you have to go in there and you have to go to war and start writing, because that's the most prevalent time to write, is when those bursts of inspiration come. And they say the whole cliche, write about what you know. I think it's true. I think it's true. And write about experiences that you've had. I mean, they're the most truthful that are going to come out, and nobody's going to be able to question them, because they're an experience, and it comes from something personal. So that's always, and filmmaking, work with the right people.
That's the key. That's the key. And the key that Lou was saying is passion is a major, major inspiration. And I would say to any in trying to be in the film business, writing, it's not easy. You got to be persistent, and there's a lot of competition. But you got to believe in what you're doing. If you believe in what you're doing in post-production, the ancillary companies that we used, we were very lucky that enough to become like a fifth Beatle. And if people work with you and they have the same passion or pick up your project, it will only enhance that project to be better. So collaboration that have the same outlook on where they want to get to and work together as a group aspect.
Nobody is going to hand anything to you. That's another thing. Nothing is going to fall into your lap and it's going to be this beautiful shiny coin. It just, you have to put something into it, some kind of, like Paul said, passion. And you have to, and I was telling Paul, you have to let people know that you're passionate about it so they can believe in you. Otherwise, it's like, it's not, you have to be passionate about your work. Be passionate about your work.
I so appreciate that amount, like that advice, working with great people, and nothing does come easily. You do have to show passion and drive for what you want in this world, especially in, when you are working with other people, because then you trust other people more that are driven. So, Louis, Paul, I so appreciate you both jumping on with me today and getting, a sense of your film for all of our live viewers. You guys, you can all see Dinner Talk screening on Saturday, March 25th at the showroom from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And you can go to Garden State Film Festival, gsff.org/tickets to buy your tickets. Guys, thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I really do hope you have a great rest of your day and weekend.
Thank you, Emily. Have a
Bye-bye.
wonderful day.